All right, welcome back everybody. Well, this week's going to be fun. This is going to be a mix of acoustic and electric. It's a super fun song to strum along to. And this is The Joker by the Steve Miller Band. This is a great example of how just super great melody, super great sing-along chorus, and just don't overthink the arrangement, you know. And as a result, it's very simple. It's very bare bones. It resonates with a lot of people. And we're going to go through the acoustic guitar parts that are on here. As far as I can tell, I think there are actually two acoustic guitars that are playing. And then that electric lead part that's got some fun stuff going on there. So if this is the kind of thing that you like and you haven't done so yet, please jump down, click subscribe, ring the bell. Bell will let you know when I drop new content. I do that every single week. All of my videos have chapters in them, so you can jump right to the part of the lesson you want to see and bypass what you don't. And if you're looking for other ways to support the channel, I greatly appreciate that. There's thanks, which is like throwing a tip in the tip jar. Or even better, you can join my Patreon, where I've got chord charts and tabs for all the lessons that I do on YouTube, like this one, and the links in the description, so check it out. Okay, so Steve Miller Band, The Joker. So I'm also going to introduce a new thing to all my videos. It'll start with this lesson here, and this is going to be a lyric spotlight, okay? And it'll be quick. But this is going to be putting a spotlight on a lyric from the song, and we're going to talk about it for a hot minute, and then we'll move on, okay? So today's lyric spotlight is pompatus. So Steve Miller coined this term pompatus in this song, the pompatus of love. So I look it up on dictionary.com, and what does pompatus mean? It means jack squat. It means nothing. There is no such a word. So then I did some digging. Well, where did that come from? And he tells a story of, there's an old doo-wop song from a guy named Vernon Green and his band. And they had an old doo-wop song called The Letter. And in that song, Vernon used the word puppetets, I think it is, like P-U, like puppet tets. Not puppet tits, puppetets. And so Steve Miller was quoting that. Well, what does Vernon mean when he says puppetets? Well, Vernon said, well, I just made it up. It's just a word like, I was talking about like these puppets, and I don't know, this is getting weird. We're not talking about puppets anymore, okay? So wrap it all up to say there is no such word. So they're both full of crap, but it fits and it's fun and it's all good. The pompatus of love, okay? Okay, so let's talk about the acoustic parts to this song. So interesting, I discovered, so the song is in F, and you could play it perfectly fine in F, standard tuning guitar. On the record, he actually, he plays it with, you can hear a lot of open strings running around, and the way you get that sound is you actually take your standard tuned guitar and you tune it down a step, 2 frets, however you want to think about it. So your lowest note is a D, and then you just go standard tuning from, you know, relationship from that point forward. So I'm not going to call out the notes, but there you go. So that's a D standard, let's just call it, drop D standard. And he plays it, so he plays the song using G shape, C shape, and D shape, right? So when you play a G in this tuning, that's actually an F. There's actually a lot of songs that are done this way. McCartney uses it all the time, 4 years. So super fun. So once you get into that tuning, then sort of everything falls into place. And like I said, the chords are super simple. It's a regular old G, a regular old C, a regular old D, and sometimes you have a D sus, right? Okay. So we're going to get to the chords in just a minute. So comes in with the riff, right? And what happens is the acoustic guitar and the bass guitar pretty much double each other during the verses. So, but here's how you play it. I'm going to go slow. Okay, on the record, there's actually 2 guitars. On the record, there's that one guitar that's going. There's a second acoustic guitar that does all those, and then he does a little fills throughout the rest. It becomes apparent when you're listening very closely on headphones and you isolate them. There is a second guitar, but you can mix them all together, and I'm going to do an arrangement where we're just going to call it one guitar and we're going to play it that way. I'm sort of muting it with my palm a little bit. If you don't do that, it's just like too much, right? So you just kind of mute it a little bit with the mute of your hand. Second time around. And let that open G string ring while you fret your third string back down here, right? You get that two guitar effect. All right, and then we get to the chorus. And the chorus is, I'll show you what the main guitar is doing. He's just doing a regular sort of G chord. Just going along like that. So you're just sort of picking along with the bass strings a little bit and make sure you're hitting the high string. Doing that sort of bumpy kind of thing. You could fully strum it. It sounds great in a bar, right? But it's got that sort of picking, sort of country picking on the porch kind of feel, and so that's why it's a little bumpy sounding and inexact. Okay, now the second acoustic guitar is doing this. Right, just accent. You can mix those together pretty easily with a little practice. Now we're going to hold on our D sus. Before we go back into our verse again, right? So that is basically the whole formation for that's the basis for all of the rhythm guitars, right? It'll run through the guitar solo, which we'll talk in a minute. The guitar solo is just over a verse, which we'll do in just a minute. But it just comes back and does another round of verse and chorus and out. Variation that you could introduce if you wanted to. I don't hear it on the record, but it's kind of fun to do. Is you take that G note on your third fret first string, and you just leave that on there. Even with your D if you want. It's kind of fun to do. One clue that you know that there's actually two acoustic guitars happens right at the very end of that outro section where you're on your D sus. One guitar at the very end does this bluesy G riff, like, or something like that. I might have gotten one note wrong, but something like that. Anyway, that was cool. I just heard that for the first time today, so. Now, of course, you could play all of this in a regular standard tuned guitar. You can't get all the little hooks in the same way that are as easy as you do when you're in the drop tuning, but you know, now I'm tuned back to standard real quick just to show you. And so that little riff becomes use the open string. And this is where it gets harder. It's hard to jump back down. You can't let it ring. But that's it, you know, and then it's I like to play it with that sus. You can play that sus chord like this. Back. So that's how you do that. Okay, now the electric part on this song is also super fun and not that hard. But to get it to sound like he does, you do need to tune it. You need to retune it to an open slide tuning. It's an open E tuning. So you tune your guitar to an open E chord. Whoops. Right? And we're going to play our solo in the key of F, and it's right up here on the 13th fret, right? Now there's some effects that are going on, and what seems to work for me, well, of course there's a wah-wah. There's a wah-wah pedal, and I feel like there's a little bit of delay going on, so I have that and some reverb, and I've got my Leslie ventilator on the slow setting. So that's giving me what sounds to be as close as I can get it anyway. And I'm back here on my bridge pickup. And like I said, I've got my wah-wah. So yeah, you're living right up here. So 1 foot on my wah-wah. I'm back here on my bridge pickup. And I've got my slide laid right on I'm going to come right up here on the actual fret wire. You remember when you're playing slide, you come up, not in between the frets, you come on top of the fret to get it to land in pitch, okay? And you just sort of work the wah-wah as best as you can. There's a couple parts where he's clearly sort of wah down at the very end. Let me talk about the technique that we're going to use here. So your F chord is straight across on the 13th fret. When you're in this tuning, you can do a lot just by sliding from, I'll call this home position, -2, okay? I'm -2 frets. And just kind of go back and forth. And sometimes you can go above, +2 on these upper strings. So those are sort of the home positions when you're using this sort of open E tuning. Anyway, not that I'm the most accurate, but that's sort of where everything is, okay? So let me run through the part. I'll do it without the wah just to show it first. So you're going to come in and you're just going to lightly pick it, but you're going to give that slide a really sort of hard shake right on top of that fret. And then you're going to start picking. Right? That's that straight down 2 frets. That's all I did was played between the you know, home -2, and I'm switching strings as I'm going along. Come back to our root note here on our 4th string. Right? That's what we're doing. So that's the one part. That's the one part where you go above the home. I love that part. Just those 3 strings. Give it a wiggle. Right. That's where everything is, and you add the wah wah. Yeah, so there's a couple parts where he's like clearly got that wah wah down, you know. On this part, he just leaves it open. Still open. Closes it a little bit, and then on this last part, he's got it wide open. And the rest of it, you're just sort of playing with that, you know, find that position on your wah where it just sort of starts to make that wah, you know, live sort of in that little middle zone where it starts to cross over from bass to treble. All right, and you put it all together and it sounds like this. And then on the outro, he's just again, just living right on that 13th fret. Then on this last one, during that sus chord, when the acoustic guitar is holding onto that at the very end, you're going to come down to your C chord, which is down here on your 8th fret. So and that's it. And there you go. That is The Joker by the Steve Miller Band, and I hope you learned something new today. If this is the kind of thing that you like and you haven't done so yet, please click subscribe and ring the bell and give me a like. That helps a lot too. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this, and if there's another song you want me to take on and do a lesson similar, let me know what that is too. But until next week, take care everybody.